I have been waiting 120 days to shoot this fish, and we're finally heading out to go get one.
May 1st is a holiday in the Florida Keys. It's the opening day of grouper season, and for the last 10 years, I've kicked it off by landing a black grouper on opening day. But this year, we're diving one of the few areas in the Keys I've never explored, which means I won't have my tried and true spots or the local knowledge that I'm used to having. So welcome to day 1 of our Duck Key trip, where we explore new reefs and try to land one of our favorite fish to eat. Today, we're launching out of and staying at Hawks Cay Resort on Duck Key, which is actually a very special place for spearfishing in the Florida Keys. Back in 1985, Florida passed the first ever guidelines for spearfishing in the state, and these regulations specifically banned spearfishing within 3 miles of shore from Key Largo all the way down to Long Key. What makes Duck Key special is that it's the northernmost island where you can legally spearfish within 3 miles of shore, so it's a perfect spot for chasing black grouper on opening day.
Alright, so right now we're just doing a little bit of exploring. We actually haven't dove too much in this stretch of reef. The plan is we're just going to zigzag over the 60 to 80 foot drop off, look at our depth finder and see if we can find some yellowtail. Usually the rule is if you find yellowtail, more often than not, there's going to be some nice black grouper underneath them. Once we find some good marks, we're going to grab the chum that we mixed up at the dock and start chum balling and hopefully bring them in.
Today, I'm diving with my brother Justin and our friend Reed. My brother Justin is my go-to diving buddy, and we're both excited to dive this new area. While Reed is a newer friend that we're excited to dive with, but he has grown up fishing in this area, so he's a great guy to have when it comes to finding spots. My soon-to-be wife Milán is starting off running the boat, with plans to get in on a few shallower spots later in the day.
Alright, wish us luck.
The first thing we notice is that the water clarity is absolutely incredible, with top to bottom visibility. When trying to find new spots, being able to see the bottom structure from the surface is critical. I make the first drop on a few large rocks in about 80 feet of water. Once I make it to the bottom, I do some grouper grunting to see if I can attract any fish nearby. This strategy can be very effective, especially when diving deeper reefs where you simply do not have the ability to swim across the entire reef while at depth. It makes a lot more sense to save your energy and bring the fish to you. I turn around and spot 2 nice mangrove snapper swimming up behind me. While not my target species, mangrove snapper are great to eat, and I take my time lining up a shot. When shooting smaller fish like mangrove snapper, getting a good shot is absolutely necessary to keep the fillets of the fish in good shape to eat.
Nice mangrove.
Nice mangrove.
Nice. Consolation prize.
As soon as I get in the boat to drop off my mangrove snapper, Justin and Reed spot a nice black sitting in the sand beneath them. Justin drops and slowly swims down to the fish, trying not to spook it. As Justin almost gets within range, the grouper starts to swim away, and Justin slowly eases closer. Justin's shot lands, but unfortunately, the fish gets a little bit too much leverage on the shaft and is able to rip off of his spear. We watch as the grouper heads out for deeper water.
Damn. Swing and a miss. Pulled out.
Of course, I go down, nice 25, 28 pound black sitting down there, just in the sand. You know, he hadn't seen a diver for at least 3 months. Lined up on him, he started going away, and I shot him in the back, and it pulled out. That's pretty much it. Just got him right at the little bit of the skin there. That was it. It sucked.
We were pretty upset to have lost such a nice black grouper so early in the day, especially after waiting 4 months for this opportunity. During the winter months, when the water cools down, grouper move up into the shallow reefs to spawn. And that's exactly why, back in 2010, Florida decided to close all grouper harvest in state waters from January 1st through April 30th, right in the middle of their spawning season. It's a third of the year without our favorite fish, but that closure gives grouper a chance to spawn without constant fishing and spearfishing pressure. This closure is exactly what had us waiting 120 days, and we were determined to land one after such a long wait. We moved back up current of the spot we had been chumming and hopped back in the water, and it was my turn to make a drop. Despite having incredible visibility, it's still difficult to pick out fish from the surface in the depth of water that we're diving. We each take turns making drops and hovering a few feet over the reef while looking around for grouper. As I turn around, I spot this nice mutton snapper right behind me. I have to spin my gun around to line up on the fish, but its curiosity gets the best of it and gives me a great shot. While it's not our target species, it's hard to pass on a nice sized mutton snapper. These fish taste great, especially at this size. Justin is next up, and he makes his drop not too far from where I had just landed my mutton. Still looking for that black grouper, Justin at first passes on the nice mutton that swims right up to him. But after not seeing anything else, he decides to line up on the fish. With a perfect stone shot, Justin swims up with his mutton. Even with a few nice fish in the boat, we were all a bit disappointed that we hadn't landed a grouper yet. It was getting late in the day, and with the great visibility on the first day of season, we should have had more than the one opportunity that we've had so far. We decide that 60 feet just isn't deep enough, and we head out to an even deeper reef to try to find our grouper. The general rule is that the deeper you go, the fewer other people that can target those reefs, which should result in more and bigger fish. With great visibility, we may be able to make up for our lack of experience in this area by diving deeper. We hop in around 90 feet of water and Justin takes the first drop. When diving deeper reefs like this, you would think that you need to kick fast and hard to get down to the bottom, but the trick is to swim easily to conserve energy. Once you pass around 60 feet, gravity does most of the work, allowing you to relax and lower your heart rate. As Justin approaches the bottom, he can see a bunch of black grouper, and he carefully adjusts his drop to glide towards the fish without spooking them. He lines up on the largest black he sees, pulls the trigger, and gets a great spine shot. When diving in deep water, this is the best possible outcome, as the grouper is completely incapacitated and cannot swim off into the reef to rip off or get rocked up in the structure. With the fish in hand, Justin had successfully landed our first black of 2025, and had officially shot his deepest black grouper by pulling the trigger at 87 feet on a single breath.
Only had to dive 87 for him.
That's cool. First of the season, man.
Nice fish. That was awesome.
All right, so for those who don't know, a couple years ago they changed the grouper limits from 1 per person to 1 per person with a cap of 2 per boat. Which means that when you go out on a boat like this and you got 4 or 5 people that are looking for a black grouper, really only 2 can bring one home. It's a little bit of a competition, but now we only got 1 left. So I'm gonna make another drop on this reef here, and we're gonna see if we can find another one.
I got mine.
We head out a little bit deeper than before to give us time to breathe up while drifting inshore with the incoming tide. This allows us to prepare for a deep drop while the current takes us to where we plan to dive. Diving in deep water like this, I decide to switch to my larger 3-banded gun for a bit more range. We load up and hop in the water around 100 feet. I take a drop and try to remain as calm as possible despite the fact that I could see multiple grouper from the surface even in 100 feet of water. I kick down gently and glide to the bottom while trying to peek out of the top of my mask to see if I can spot a grouper to target. This one large rock had multiple grouper around it and I slowly glide towards it. The one thing running through my head is that a bad shot at this depth is a big risk. Grouper are notorious for swimming into caves when hooked by someone fishing or shot with a spear. When spearfishing, you can usually take another dive to get the fish free from the rocks, but at this depth, that should be avoided if possible. I level out about 30 feet off the bottom and try to pick the grouper I'm going to target. I turn and head for the surface, having already stayed longer than I should have. I can't fight the fish off the bottom, which gives it time to swim to a nearby ledge and lodge itself into a cave, 100 feet down. I was glad to have landed a shot in a grouper, but pretty disappointed in myself for taking such a rushed shot at the end of my dive. Now I'm faced with a difficult situation that would require multiple recovery dives at depth. At least I had some words of affirmation from my brother.
Good to stoned him?
After about 5 minutes of breathing up, I take a drop, close my eyes, and gently pull myself down the shooting line so that I can focus on staying relaxed and extend my dive time. It has been said that one of the hardest dives to make is a recovery dive. You're excited, tired, and worried about landing the fish all at the same time. And you can imagine my surprise as I open my eyes when I reach the end of the shooting line and see the rock that my grouper is in is surrounded by bull sharks and a nurse shark is already trying to chew on my grouper. After getting sized up by the competition, I decide that this isn't a good time to get the grouper out of the rock. But I use the rest of the dive to examine the situation and prepare for my next drop. I gently pull on the shaft to see just how stuck the grouper is, and I can tell that it's not that bad after all. My brother meets me at around 60 feet, fully prepared to defend me and my catch if I had decided to rip the grouper out with the sharks around.
There goes 200 bucks.
Huh?
I said, there goes 200 bucks.
I can get him out, I just need to breathe up good.
I breathe up for another 5 minutes, then take my second recovery drop. Again, I gently pull myself down the shooting line directly to the fish with my eyes closed during the entire descent. Unfortunately, despite my efforts to remain calm, my heart is racing. I know I'm against the clock to get the grouper out of the rock before the sharks do. This time, as I approach the bottom, I can see the fish's head in the rock. I figure that I can grab the fish by the gills, then cut the shooting line to bring him up. But the way the shaft is lodged into the rock, I can't quite get him free. I let go of the fish and take a look at the other side, and I see that I can easily pull the fish out backwards. I'm out of time, and I need to head back to the surface. These 100-foot drops back to back get exhausting, so I'm running out of time to get the fish free. I figure I have about 1, maybe 2 more drops in me before I'll need to reevaluate the situation and take a break, running the risk of letting the fish get eaten by sharks.
I saw his head, I went for the gills. I should have gone for where the shaft was, and I could have had him. I had him by the gills and I pulled, and the shaft was stopping him from coming out because I got him like perpendicular. It needs to come out backwards. Give me another 5 minutes.
It's my third drop, and by now, I'm getting pretty tired. We had already been diving for several hours, and now I had made 3 drops to over 90 feet in quick succession trying to recover this fish. Each one is exhausting. Kicking your way back up nearly 100 feet against gravity takes a toll. If I can't get the grouper out on this drop, it's time to seriously consider letting the sharks have it. I obviously don't want that, so the pressure is on. With that thought in the back of my mind, I try to remain calm on my descent. Before this drop, I had asked Reed to hold the shooting line tight from the surface so that once I become negatively buoyant, I can use the line as a guide, unlike my other drops where I had to actively pull myself all the way to the bottom. Around 60 feet, I lightly hold the line and allow it to guide me to the bottom, trying to remain streamlined. This works great, and you can see my heart rate drop by just a few precious beats per minute as I reach the bottom. I come in from the tail side of the fish, work the shaft loose, and slide the grouper out just far enough so that it can't wedge itself back in. With the grouper out of the rock, I let go and let Reed and Justin fight it from the surface. At about 60 feet, my brother meets me and grabs the fish to make sure it doesn't get off the spear, and just like that, we had it. I had not only achieved my goal of landing a black grouper on opening day, but it was a solid fish, and I pulled it out of 98 feet of water, the deepest I've ever worked a fish out of a rock.
Nice set of fish. Nice fish, man. Lay first, can't beat it.
With our primary goal accomplished, we only had one thing left to do before heading in and cooking up this grouper we've been waiting so long for. After driving for us all morning, Milán wants to go in a bit shallower to land a fish herself. After all, the thing that makes Duck Key special for spearfishing is the fact that we can spear within 3 miles of shore, which opens up a lot of area for shallow water diving. Fortunately, Reed knows a few shallow patches in about 15 feet of water, so we start heading that way. In shallow water like this, our primary target is red grouper. These fish taste just about as good as black grouper, but they don't need to be as big to be legal. The good news is that early in the season like this, they should be everywhere, and before long, we found one in a rock. Milán makes her dive with her gun loaded with a single band. When diving in shallow water like this, it's important to not overpower your gun, or you'll end up shooting your spear into a rock that you can't get it out of. Milán takes her time and lines up a good shot, and the fish goes nuts. Just like black grouper, red grouper love to get stuck in caves. Fortunately, it's much more manageable in shallow water like this. Milán takes a couple of dives to work it out, and with the help of Reed, we had the fish out in no time at all. At the same spot, Reed spots a nice red grouper sitting just outside of a hole. Reed takes his time with the shot placement and gets a perfect stone shot on the fish, and he's able to bring it up in a single dive. Now that everyone on the boat had a chance to land a grouper on opening day, it was time to head in for what we have all been waiting for. We make the short run in, dock the boat, clean the fish, feed the locals, then meet up with our buddy Jack, who we're gonna be diving with the next 2 days. Next, we check in and check out our sunset villa and drop off our gear.
This is nice.
Sunset views from the villa.
Alright guys, that is one of our grouper from the day, and we're about to have Angler and Ale cook it up for us and see what they can come up with.
While waiting on our reservation, we grab a couple of drinks, then check out the pool. Then make it back to the Angler and Ale just in time for our reservation. Toast to a great day on the water, and order our grouper every way they make it. Wow. Fried, blackened, and grilled.
Yeah, thank you.
Right now we have 3 preparations, 4 different sides, and 4 different sauces. This looks incredible. And this is the first day and the last 120 days that we can legally eat fresh grouper, shot or caught, same day.
Alright, I'm digging in. I just had some piccata. How is that?
So good. That's so crispy. My God.
I couldn't imagine a better end to the opening day of grouper season, and Duck Key is certainly on the short list for next year. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.